is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Reporter TV, and we're very pleased to be joined again by Jim Bunsey, the Director of Business Development for PERC, to discuss the ongoing energy transition in ports, plus the value proposition for including propane in that mix. So, Jim, it's always a pleasure to connect with you to discuss the energy transition. And at this point, we've had multiple chats, but to start us off, can you remind our viewers, what is the overall value proposition of propane as a clean and green fuel?
Greg, I appreciate you having me here. Talking about propane as green fuel. So we look at carbon emissions. We're generating electricity, we're running vehicles, and simply switching from diesel or coal generated power, we start to clean up emissions right away. You use propane. It's a simple C3H8, 3 carbons, hydrogen-rich fuel. So this hydrogen-rich fuel, so as we start moving to be cleaner, as we burn more hydrogen, that cleans up our tailpipe emissions. So right now, our domestic propane, we compare ourselves to diesel in a port tractor. We have 96% reduction in CO on there. And that quickly changes. So as people have their energy goals, propane that's been here forever is helping them meet that.
As you know well, all the environmental benefits of alternative fuels are nice talking points, but in this business and really in any business, money talks. So all the conversations that we have on alternative fuels eventually comes down to the cost of the molecule and its availability. Simply put, how does propane stack up today on price and availability?
So I'll start availability, and then I'll bring in the price. So availability. Right now in production, so propane is from the processing of natural gas, NGLs, liquids, and so it's plentiful. Right now, our industry is using between 9 and 10 billion gallons, but we export over 20 billion gallons right now, goes overseas. So right now, American-made, energy sourced here that's affordable. And you start to look at a lot of the programs when we're using alternative green fuels, where propane pencils out. We're cheaper than diesel, we're cheaper than gasoline, and that affordability starts to bring an ROI in. So buying propane powered equipment, vehicles, generators, whatever we're going to use in the port. We're actually doing a project where we're going to do some sky lifts, and they're going to be running on propane. But again, that's moving from diesel right to propane to cleaning up emissions with a more affordable fuel that is available today.
But the future of any fuel in this sector hinges on its ability to be quote unquote green. What is the reality today, and what are the future prospects to produce green propane?
So with the green propane, a lot of our propane, the renewable propane, is coming from SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel. So as they're going through and they're using cooking oils, they're using solid wastes, recyclable plastics. There's a group that's actually breaking down old tires, and in that process, we're creating energy. So we're taking bad things, making good energy to be used. That starts helping with our carbon intensity. So we'll look at electrification. So as we electrify all this equipment, we still need to create that electricity. So cradle to grave, carbon intensity score. The national average of the electric grid across the United States is 131. Domestic propane, right now, as we deliver it around the United States, has a carbon intensity of 79.25. So you can either buy your equipment that runs on it, or we're going to use propane powered generators to run the electric equipment. It's solution either way, but propane is able to solve that. Now we start talking about those renewables. We shipped over 4 million gallons for the past 3 years. This year, we're going to be close to 20 million gallons. By 2025, we should be up to 100 million gallons. And then by 2030, hopefully 1 billion gallons. So it's a clear path to zero. You buy the propane equipment today, you're cleaner than the electric grid. Now, renewable propane, when we compare to other green fuels, you do not have to change any of the equipment. Here I am at the ports. We got to clean up the environment. What do? Okay, I'm switching to propane. I'm offsetting this diesel equipment right now. We're cleaning up the environment. But now we got a path to 2050 when we're going to have, over 1 billion gallons of renewable propane that's going to be able to be blended. So you can put a 1% blend up to 100% blend to meet the energy goals that are needed there to keep the affordability. So, there's no difference when the equipment runs on it. We were shipping it out to California. There was a forklift fleet. They were using it for 2 years. They didn't want to use this new fancy renewable propane. They didn't know there was any difference because there wasn't any difference. And they were surprised that, that happened. But that's what we want. You want to be able to move, have the same performance, make it affordable, make it reliable, there's our success.
As you know, everybody loves a good case study. Can you discuss one recent case study, one port, one application where
So
propane has been adopted to good effect?
yeah, we had a great success, and I'll state, you're over there in New York, and Port of Newark. Port of Newark's been really great. We did a great port tractor study year and a half ago. So we took one of the port tractors, ran it side by side with the diesel, and we thought it was going to do good, but it did really good. We looked at the emissions, we looked at the maintenance, we looked at the affordability. Port of Newark, they went ahead and there's 45 port tractors. There's 20 on site right now. By the end of this month, there's 25 more. It's watching somebody buy that many pieces of equipment that run on propane. I mean, that's a great success because they saw the value. They're able to still do their work. It was more affordable than when they looked at the cost of putting electric infrastructure and going with electric port tractors, which, we reached out, we said, we can help you guys do that also. But, they made the commitment, and watching these port tractors being delivered, it's exciting. And, hopefully next month, we're actually going to give them a Propane Heroes Award from that PERC gives that out. We find fleets across the United States and that really stand out that made the commitment. And, it wasn't one or two. These guys bought 45. So it's more than half of their fleet are going to be running on propane. And Port of Newark, people pay attention in our industry, right? What they're doing, that's what the smaller ports are going to do, and it's a big success for us. But really, we're happy because they made the choice. We didn't have to convince them. It was where the rubber meets the road. This makes sense for them.